All right, good morning. I'm Ron Cowell, and I'm with the Education Policy and Leadership Center. And we're very pleased to be a part of the recently formed Pennsylvania Arts Education Network, which is sponsoring today's events. The Arts Education Network is a coalition of arts, education, and advocacy organizations working together to increase public and policymaker awareness of the value of arts education and to increase support for effective state and school district policies that will ensure that all students, K through 12, have the benefit of high-quality arts education programs. We're going to hear shortly from our legislators, but in particular I want to thank Representative Mark Cohen, who helped make arrangements for us to use the Media Center today, and also thank in particular Senator Costa and Representative Stan Saylor for introducing resolutions in the Senate and House recognizing March 19th as Arts Education Advocacy Day and for recognizing arts educators across the Commonwealth. I also want to thank our EPLC staff who are working on this project. Out in the audience there is Aaron Goff. Aaron is the manager for our Arts Education Initiative and is serving as the coordinator for the Pennsylvania Arts Education Network. And Laura Abbott is somewhere out there. Laura's out there with a camera. But Laura is helping all of us as a research assistant, and both of them are arts educators, so we really appreciate all the great work that they're doing. The purpose of today's conference is to hear from several speakers about the importance of arts education and hear from network leaders who want to highlight the public policy agenda that has been agreed to by the Arts Education Network. The network has 6 important items on its policy ask, and I just want to highlight those. First is the Pennsylvania Department of Education should restore at least 1 full-time fine arts and humanities advisor. This is a position that actually once was filled by 6 people several administrations ago and several decades ago, and today it is an unfilled position. And it has been vacant for the last 3 years or so, going back into the prior administration. Secondly, state policymakers should reinstate the Governor's School for the Arts, which was canceled as a result of state budget cuts in 2009. This is a premier program of its kind in the country that has 10,000 graduates over 30 years until it was canceled, along with other governor's schools in 2009. Third, the Pennsylvania Department of Education should inform all school districts that they may use Title I and Title II funds for arts education. There's been some confusion on the part of the advice being given to school districts, and they've essentially been told they're not permitted to do that. But in fact, we've shared some recent information from Secretary Duncan and other federal officials indicating that it is permissible for Title I and Title II funds to be used to support arts education programs and professional development. Fourth, all school districts should require at least 1 high school credit in the arts as a graduation requirement. We are a local controlled state in terms of graduation requirements. These are decisions made by our school boards, and we're encouraging all school boards to require 1 credit in the arts for graduation. Fifth, the Pennsylvania Department of Education should develop endorsements to be added to other teaching certificates for teachers of dance and theater. We do not have certification, special certification for dance and theater, but one of the ways of highlighting these positions and assuring appropriate training for those who provide dance and theater instruction is to use the endorsement process. And then sixth, we remind legislators that because of the budget cuts that have occurred over the last couple of years, arts and music programs across the state too often have been casualties of decisions made in Harrisburg and by local school boards. And we're encouraging state government to begin to restore the cuts that have been made over the last several years, and to have a plan so that there is adequate resources available in every school district to support the entire curriculum, but certainly art and music programs for students in every school district across the Commonwealth. We appreciate consideration of these things. This is going to be part of the network's message and the message coming from the many organizations that are part of the network. We're going to hear from some network members, but first of all we're going to hear from some members of the General Assembly, and we appreciate the support that they have indicated for the work of the network, and very importantly for the work of the new Arts and Culture Caucus. And we have 4 legislators who are acting as the co-chairs of the new Arts and Culture Caucus, and we're very pleased to have them with us. I'm going to first recognize Representative Stan Saylor from York County, again, co-chair of the Legislative Arts and Culture Caucus. Stan? Thank you. Sure.
Good morning, everyone. As one who appreciates many of the different kinds of art, I understand how exposure to art, music, painting, drawing, sculpture can open a young person's mind, not just to the disciplines and history of art itself, but also to understand the larger picture of the world around us every day. Not every child has a Mozart in them, or a Frank Lloyd Wright, or a Picasso inside themselves. If you see my drawings when I was a kid, you would not appreciate it. But it was my idea of art those days. But learning to open up and be creative with these children's minds today by giving them an opportunity to have arts taught in the schools is very important. It fosters one's ability to devise their own way of effectively meeting the goals placed before them. And when people speak of traditional liberal arts education, they talk about a classical education in a mold of what our founding fathers viewed as a necessary base for citizens in this great political experiment of America, like literature, history, science, mathematics. Art is a central part of that education. It's been said many times that art is much more than a drawing or a painting, but a point that is sometimes lost, and that is not just an expression, it's another way of thinking. As an American author, Willa Cather once said, "Artistic growth is more than anything else a refining of sense of truthfulness." Aesthetics, the philosophy of how we deal with art and the creation and appreciation of beauty. It is a study of human judgment, sentiment, and the taste which provides insight to our values. Emanuel Lutzi is a German-American artist who was famous for his depictions of key elements and events in Pennsylvania history and United States history, such as Washington's crossing of the Delaware, which is on display to enjoy by all in the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York City. Other works like by Lutzi is Westward, the course of the Empire takes it away. Often that particular westward hoe is displayed in the U.S. Capitol, and it is closed to you and I to see. It is the last painting that members of Congress get to see as they walk up the staircase to vote. It is a painting that influences our congressmen as they go to vote. It's a secret kind of message as they walk up their stairs and they look at that painting to get them to understand the great American experiment. The aesthetics of art can give us a picture and a clear view of a vision of what people have. You and I can look at art and we can see different things. I look at some art and I don't have any clue. But art isn't just about paintings and drawings. It's about music. It's about education. One of the things that I took notice to with First Lady Susan Corbett last year in the Red Line School District in my own county was the teaching of mathematics by art. I was sitting there in a classroom thinking, well, math was okay subject for me. But these kids got it. They were learning how to do mathematics by drawing artwork. And they were all doing super. I could never have had the thought or vision as a young farm boy growing up and going to Red Line School District, the idea that somebody today could teach art or teach math by using art. And I think so many times all of us forget the importance of the arts, all of the arts, in our lives and the difference it makes day in and day out in the decisions we make, whether we're state legislators or we're business people or whatever walk of life we happen to do. It has a great influence on our future, and I look forward to supporting this caucus as we move forward.
Representative Saylor, thanks very much. I will note the House is going into session about now, so we want to be respectful of legislative schedules. If there's a need for anybody to leave before we're completed, please don't feel trapped here. Next, Representative Tim Briggs from Montgomery County, also co-chair of the Legislative Arts and Culture Caucus.
Thank you, Ron. Thank you. I'm proud to be a co-chair of the House Arts and Culture Caucus with Representative Saylor. As someone who consistently advocated for funding in the arts, up here and also back in my local districts. I'm truly honored to be a leader in this new formed caucus. Also, Representative Saylor introduced a resolution, 146, recognizing arts education is essential in our students, and I was proud to be a co-sponsor of that. I don't know if we're voting on that today, or you have it right there. So I'm very confident that will pass overwhelmingly. Every year, state legislators are facing tough decisions regarding budgets, especially when state resources are so scarce. And one area that we should never shortchange is arts, especially in our schools. Locally, I have a great relationship in my home district with my art teachers. Every month, we at a different school, the art teachers come in, volunteer their time to hang 40, 50 pieces of artwork, ceramics, photographs, and we have a roving art show. And I invite the community during that month to a art show in the evening to really promote what's happening in our local schools. To better, we invite the families of the kids as well. And it's a great day for the kids to come. I get to talk to them about what they're doing, what their teachers are teaching them. The teachers are there to meet the parents. And we invite the community to come to see what's really happening in Upper Marion School District. And it's amazing when you see a second, third, fourth grader, as Representative Saylor said, doing artwork that it's a lot better than I could do today. And it's just one of the subjects that they truly love. So as decisions happen in our local districts regarding budget cuts, I'm trying to do my part to put pressure on our school board to preserve funding to the arts. It's something that the teachers do, volunteer their time putting the artwork up, coming the night of the open house, and it's something that I'm proud to continue. And with that, I just want to thank you for this opportunity and have a great day in Harrisburg.
Thank you, Representative. Our next speaker is one of the first folks who stepped forward to work with Jenny Hershour and Citizens for the Arts to form the Legislative Caucus. He is a longtime advocate for arts education, former member of the Pennsylvania Council for the Arts, and I'm proud to say my state senator, Jay Costa.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Ron, and thank you to everyone involved in today's program and the network, the Pennsylvania Arts Education Network. Thank you for putting all of us together here today and participating in this very, very important effort. We think collectively, our caucus chairs, myself and Senator Browne, as well as Representative Briggs and Saylor, are very pleased to work together to establish the caucus. And this is precisely some of the work that we envisioned when we started getting together to discuss what the role of the caucus might be. And I want to say thank you to my co-chairs and all those folks, all of our colleagues who've joined us in this effort, because we do think that it's critically important. I think as we go forward, we recognize that we have our work cut out for us as it relates to resources and making certain that we drive the appropriate resources back into our school districts in particular and back into our communities to support the efforts of the arts organizations throughout our Commonwealth. And as it relates to the network's request for the 6 items that are listed as legislative initiatives, we stand ready to work with them and with all of you and everyone involved in this process to make certain that we can advance as many of those initiatives as possible. But we think it's important that we have this dialogue and this importance, the awareness of what needs to be done as we go forward. So thank you again to the network. We all know the value of arts education. We know what it means to individuals in terms of self-esteem, self-confidence, and we know what it does. Studies have shown the scores are increasing alike, and just how it creates a more well-rounded individual as we go forward. And I can pledge to you that we will work to make certain that we're able to do what we can as it relates to driving more resources into these programs, but also addressing the very, very important concepts of making certain that school districts understand and appreciate, the Department of Education understands and appreciates the value that arts and education play. And we're very, very pleased to be here today. But I want to say thank you to the network for pulling everyone together to allow us the opportunity to create the awareness that we need to create, but also more importantly, the advocacy that needs to take place over the course of the next couple of weeks. So Ron, thank all of you for putting this together, and I look forward to working with all of my colleagues and all of our folks who are here today who are going to speak a little bit later as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Jay. Our next speaker is a longtime advocate for education at all levels and all forms, including arts education. From Northampton and Lehigh counties, Senator Browne. Pat.
Thank you, Ron. On behalf of the Senate Republican Caucus, I wanted to thank and congratulate all our arts teachers and advocates for continuing to reinforce the importance of the exposure to the arts as part of an overall comprehensive educational experience. As you know, no doubt, one of our obligations as a state government is to ensure that our children receive a comprehensive, well-rounded experience in their primary and secondary years. We have focused very heavily recently on competency in core subjects for our children to be prepared for adulthood. Yet, core competency must be to pull all the more technical areas together into creative, imaginative thought. This is not only important for those who are looking for a career in the arts, but to increase the potential of development of the innovative products and services which will be key to our state's economic future. Arts and education is about unleashing the true potential of our diverse Pennsylvania student population for the benefit of not only themselves, but our entire state. It has and will continue to engage our children in the innovations of the future, but of no less importance, inspire them to cultivate and support our state's long-standing assets of the past and the present. Arts and cultural assets have and will continue to be the bedrock on which many of our older communities are built. Our children's immersion in the arts will instill in them an understanding of the value of those assets to the future vitality and sustainability of our many unique communities. Through continuing and lifelong exposure and education in the arts after their secondary years, their inspirations continue to flourish along with the communities in which they live. Ladies and gentlemen, in the 21st century, our state is pretty much split into regions, and those regions are centered in our older communities. And in many of these older communities, we have the bedrock of our arts and culture assets that support these older communities. Those older communities in a lot of our areas are experiencing tremendous challenges. What this will do and will continue to do as children are exposed to the arts is move the population that tends to move out of the cities back into the cities to concentrate on the health and safety of our communities and the long-standing investment in those arts assets. So it's not only about exposure of those who are interested in arts, but our entire student population, so that there will be continued focus on the health of not only our entire state as a whole, but the communities that we all serve that are challenged. Let us commit ourselves today to proactively engage all stakeholders and decision makers in making arts and education a priority. It is a keystone for our children's bright future and the success of our great Commonwealth. Thank you very much.
Senator, thank you very much, and thanks to all of our legislative partners. We really appreciate the support and the encouragement that we get from them. I'll turn now to a number of representatives of the network and member organizations. Something that every one of us can do to support the arts and arts education is to be supportive of Citizens for the Arts in Pennsylvania. It is the statewide arts advocacy organization that works on behalf of all of us as well as the overall enterprise. We're very pleased to have as a partner and as a speaker today Jenny Hershour, the Managing Director of Citizens for the Arts in Pennsylvania. Jenny?
As Ron said, we are the only statewide multidisciplinary arts advocacy organization. And we have been working with the Pennsylvania Arts Education Network to promote the benefits to our children of an education that includes the arts. And we're looking forward to further working with the Pennsylvania Legislative Arts and Culture Caucus to continue this work. I'd like to take this moment to thank Senator Costa, Senator Browne, Representative Saylor, and Representative Briggs for providing leadership on the caucus. Our work with the caucus will include providing members with the latest research on arts education, in addition to other cultural data about Pennsylvania. Studies have shown repeatedly that a formal education that includes the arts is linked to higher academic performance, increased standardized test scores, greater involvement in community service, and lower dropout rates. According to the College Board's report on the 2012 college-bound seniors, students that studied the arts for 4 or more years scored 50 points higher in math, reading, and writing on the SATs than students that studied for the arts for less than a year. Additionally, according to a recent Harris poll on the attitudes of arts education, 93% of the Americans surveyed feel that the arts are vital to a well-rounded education. And isn't that what we as parents, advocates, school board members, legislators want for our children? A well-rounded education? An education that includes the arts prepares our students with skills for a 21st century workforce, which includes the ability to innovate, communicate, and collaborate. An education that is rich in the arts is an education that benefits our students, our communities, and the Commonwealth. Thanks.
Thanks, Jenny. Excuse me. We have listed on the agenda Philip Horn, who is the Executive Director of the Pennsylvania Council on the Arts. They conduct a set of very important programs to support arts education across the Commonwealth. I knew that when we scheduled Philip that he had a conflicting meeting this morning. They're part of a planning process for a trade exchange trip, and he advised us that he might not be able to make it, but if he comes in, we will certainly recognize him. But we want to thank Philip and his staff for the support they've given to the network. I mentioned earlier that one of the policy agenda items is restoration of the Governor's School for the Arts. There are no better advocates for the Governor's School for the Arts than those who have had that rich experience. And we're very pleased to have somebody who is kind of familiar with the previous speaker, Jenny Hershour, her daughter, Martha Hershour, who is here as an alum of the Governor's School.
Good morning, everyone. As Ron said, I'm Martha Hershour, and I am proud to call myself an alumni of the class of 2007 of the Pennsylvania Governor's School for the Arts. Now, I'm sure being a PGSA graduate leaves a lot of people feeling that I'm a bit biased in wanting the restoration, but I assure you, I am not. One of the things that people need to take notice of is the amount of support from former Govies and teachers and parents and friends of Govies that the restoration is getting, and it's all because of how wonderful the program is. We had 5 weeks at Mercyhurst, and we can never go back, but we want other people to be able to have that experience as well. I recently finished my last year of 4 years at a conservatory program, again as an acting student, which I am positive I would not have gotten into if it weren't for the Governor's School. In fact, looking back on the 4 years I spent at Point Park University, there are things that I didn't learn there that I learned at the Governor's School, that I feel I am a better, not only actor, but person for learning. I learned more in those 5 weeks than I may ever learn from one single place again. And I'm sure my fellow Govies feel the same way. But what we were taught about wasn't just our concentrations. It was emphasized that we need to experience other art forms. We not only attended musical performances and readings and original plays, we had to take classes in these things as well. We got to choose one class outside of our concentration that we spent a few hours on every single week. And I think that that really formed me even more so as an artist than I would have been before. Not only did we attend all of those things and all the extra classes, but it was emphasized the importance of advocacy. And that's one of the reasons that I am here today. We were taught that it's important to not only show support for the arts on a personal level, but to be incredibly vocal about it. And so I ask you, as a Govie, as an artist, and as a citizen of Pennsylvania, to please reinstate the Governor's School for the Arts. Woo!
Martha, thanks very much. I might add, just in case there's anybody watching this or hearing about this, that there is being formed a alumni network of graduates of the Pennsylvania Governor's School for the Arts. And for more information about that, you can go to the EPLC website or go to the website, most importantly for the network, and we'll mention that a little bit later in some detail. We are joined by another legislator who I imagine has to get back to session, so I'm going to fit him in here right now because we were going to have him speak earlier. Representative Mark Cohen, as a longtime advocate for the arts and arts education, He's been a good friend to all of us, helped us arrange to make use of this room today, and is currently a member of the Pennsylvania Council for the Arts. Representative Mark Cohen from Philadelphia. Mark.
Thank you very much, Ron. I'm very pleased to be here today. I met Ron Cowell only a few months after I was sworn in as a legislator, and I deeply appreciate his outstanding leadership in the years since he left the legislature. His commitment to public service has never wavered. The Governor's Council on the Arts it has been very active for many years. And among the things that we support on the Governor's Council on the Arts is arts education and the Governor's School for the Arts. The Governor's School is a very, very successful program that has been around for a good number of years and deserves to be continued. You've heard today testimony from people who have experienced the school, who have benefited from it, and who understand that others ought to be able to benefit from it as well. I strongly hope that in this year's budget process, we can find money for the council, for the Council on the Arts and the Governor's School for the Arts and other art-related programs throughout state government. It is my gut feeling that with the stock market hitting new highs, there's going to be a lot of unexpected revenue in the state budget, and that some of that unexpected revenue ought to go for arts programs. Arts programs encourage creativity, arts programs encourage diversity of expression, arts programs increase the quality of life in Pennsylvania. So I'm delighted to be here. I strongly urge support for the goals set forth by the people here today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Representative Cohen. We appreciate that. We have a lot of partners with the network, but we've got representatives of 4 of those organizations with us today, and I'm going to turn to them next. Representing the Pennsylvania Music Educators Association as Executive Director, Margaret Bauer. Margaret?
Good morning. The Pennsylvania Music Educators Association fully endorses the policy agenda of the Pennsylvania Arts Education Network. We are especially supportive of a policy directing the Pennsylvania Department of Education to restore at least one full-time arts and humanities advisor in the department. The importance of this content advisor position cannot be overstated. With the advent of the Teacher Effectiveness Program and new national standards in the arts that will be introduced later this year, arts teachers need a strong leader in the Department of Education. We also agree that the General Assembly must begin to restore the nearly $900 million in cuts funding to school districts over the past 2 years. These cuts have had the perhaps unintended, but nevertheless very real effect of cutting music and arts programs from school districts' curricula. And this is in spite of the fact that the arts are considered a core subject by the Elementary and Secondary Education Act, and they're also mandated by the Pennsylvania School Code. We've lost many music programs over these past 2 years, and in many instances it wasn't a cut, it was a retirement. Many of our teachers are now retiring. When they retire, their programs are being allowed to fade away, and they're not there anymore. I would like to just quote a few sentences from a letter I received from a college student 2 weeks ago. Totally unsolicited, came in my email, was a young man who's a junior majoring in English education at Penn State University. And he had heard that his high school, well actually his school district, was going to eliminate the elementary music program entirely. And he was very concerned about this, and he wrote just a phenomenal letter. Just a few of the sentences that he wrote. The excellence of a school district is marked by any number of qualities. Of course, there is the overall mission for the district, curriculum, and standards. More importantly, a school's diversity is a mark of its excellence, not only by its resources, but also in the programs it offers. As William Bennett, the former United States Secretary of Education, once stated, an elementary school that treats the arts as the province of a few gifted children or views them only as recreation and entertainment is a school that needs an infusion of soul. For many who support the cuts in music at the elementary school, they will say, we simply cannot afford these programs. But I say that we cannot afford not to have them. End quote. According to, well, our slogan for the National Association for Music Education is Music Education Orchestrates Success. And we are pleased to be a part of the Pennsylvania Arts Education Network so that we can continue to advocate for music education and all arts education. Thank you.
Thanks, Margaret. Another important partner is the Pennsylvania Art Education Association, and today represented by retired art educator Leanne Rhodes. Leanne?
On behalf of Pennsylvania Art Education Association, thank you for inviting me and recognizing the importance of art education. Because of artists, we can celebrate this event in this beautiful building, a palace of art known for its magnificent murals, sculptures, stained glass windows, tile work, and a dome inspired by St. Peter's Basilica. How many of us travel to cultural hotspots like this because of the artistic beauty? We are drawn to beauty. It satisfies our aesthetic sensibilities. It connects us to our humanity. Why would we not value the continuation of our creative legacy as a priority in education? In the 2 minutes allotted, I also chose to share one of my students' reflections on the Governor's School, not knowing somebody else is speaking about that. One of the policy recommendations, as you know, is to reinstate this program. My student says, I went to the Governor's School for the Arts in summer of 2008. I loved every minute of my experience. I learned so much about photography in the darkroom, the digital lab, and on field trips. In addition, I took a poetry elective, participated in collaborative projects, and attended evening performances. During my 5 weeks, I made friends with students in dance, theater, music, and writing. All of the friends are so dear to me and have all influenced my life as a young artist. The Governor's School for the Arts was easily the most formative and influential experience in high school. I will graduate from Tyler School of Art in May. I currently intern at Philadelphia Magazine and am pursuing a career in photo editing for print publications. I know that without the amazing education and leadership skills that I got from the PGSA program, I would not be where I am today. End quote. Artists and appreciators of the arts, as was mentioned before, we're not all going to be artists, but we all hopefully will be appreciators, find that creative endeavors make life meaningful and enjoyable. Because of digital media, art is more accessible than ever. Art is an essential part of our culture, an expression of our humanity, our legacy. Is it not our responsibility to ensure that our kids get it?
Yeah, thanks very much. Leanne's comments about the beauty in this building, the artwork in this building, reminded me that some of you may recall this, although most of you are much too young. More than 40 years ago, Smithsonian Magazine labeled the Pennsylvania House of Representatives chamber as the most beautiful legislative chamber in the entire country. I had the privilege to serve there for 24 years, and it certainly is, and you can marvel at it even after 24 years. You see new stuff every day. Our next speaker is a representative of the Pennsylvania State Association for Health, Physical Education, Recreation, and Dance, their Executive Director, Linda Woods-Huber.
Thank you. I know someone's probably thinking, what are they doing here? I do represent health, physical education, recreation, and dance. And dance is a major part of the Pennsylvania, we call it state AFERD organization. We have been part with these people here for so many years where we stood there and represented our dance educators. What we are looking for are following the 6 proposals that we make here as a group that we do support. When we came into this, we have a division of dance in Pennsylvania State AFERD, and that division really is the only organization in our state of Pennsylvania that represents that art of dance. And we do combine it with physical education. We get the basics in K through 12, quality PE, we get basics in the elementary schools for movement and rhythms. And if the children don't get it there, from an expert educator, we're fearful that they will not get it at all. And when we see people who can't skip and jump in physical education and they get through their elementary grades and they still don't have that rhythmic movement, they really lose a lot in their lives as far as participating in recreational endeavors and to dance on their own in the future. We also know the value, as so many have spoken today about, and that is the academic performance of students who are well-rounded, who have the total education when we educate the whole child. I loved hearing what Martha had to say about the governor's school, because we have had our expert dance educators go there and be the teachers of those weeks. And they come back and say how wonderful those weeks were, what they've done, and how hard they prepared to teach all of you that were there. So we totally support that. The other avenues that Pennsylvania State AFERD will support wholly and have for years is to bring back the Pennsylvania Department of Ed Fine Arts and Humanities Advisor. We need that person there to help us get advice on where we should be and also to help us network with all the wonderful professionals around our state. We would like reinstated the Governor's School for the Arts, of course. We see the value in it, and hearing today everyone speaks so highly of it. We know the value of that. We also had a Governor's School of Health and Physical Education, which we married together, and we worked together on those Governor's schools. So they're valuable to have for the whole child. And last but not least is Pennsylvania Department of Ed to support endorsement of expert dance educators. And I go educators first, and then they become the dance experts that we want to be in our schools to teach our children what they need to know, and also what's going to lead them into a physically active lifestyle for a lifetime. We know what happens to the brain when we move, and when we're creative. We know that movement and quality PE classes and dance classes definitely increase the activity of the brain to allow us to take tests better and to learn better and to enjoy life in the recreational setting. So thank you again. I so appreciate being with this body, and Ron for inviting us to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. And now representing the American Alliance for Theater Education as its Pennsylvania representative, and somebody who's been a key partner again throughout this process of developing the network, Jane Frank. Jane?
Good morning. In the spring of 2012, the Youth Theater Journal published results of a study that looked at the influence of theater arts, both in the classroom at the high school level and as extracurricular programs, for students during their high school careers and the subsequent lifelong impact those experiences yielded on their lives. With responses of several hundred individuals covering 6 decades of education, the results supported what we have all come to know as our educators. The arts in general, and theater specifically, provides access to other cultures and customs, historical periods and places, people and events that cross the spectrum of the entire core curriculum. Students who participate in theater and drama show increased academic performance, attendance, and reading comprehension. Drama and theater build self-esteem as well as increased social and language skills. All of the arts, including theater and drama, teach 21st century skills such as collaboration, creativity, problem solving, and communication. As a member of the Pennsylvania Arts Education Network, I urge each of our legislators to embrace our policy ask, to support the need for all students in K through grade 12 to have the opportunity to engage in arts education, including theater arts, to have access to the most talented and well-trained faculty, to empower our students to attain the highest academic achievements possible in all of the arts, and to maintain a lifelong appreciation and learning in the arts far beyond the professional choices they may make as they continue their education. I too would like to leave you with a quote. I believe that all students should have the opportunity to experience the arts in deep and meaningful ways. The opportunity to learn about the arts and to perform as artists is an essential part of a well-rounded curriculum and complete education. The study of drama, dance, music, and the visual arts helps students explore realities, relationships, and ideas that cannot be conveyed simply in words or numbers. Arnie Duncan, U.S. Secretary of Education. Thank you.
Again, thanks to all of our speakers, including the legislators and representatives of the various organizations. I want to note that the network is a broad coalition. There are a couple of other folks here who represent partners, and I want to recognize them. There's a representative here from the Pennsylvania Association for Supervision and Curriculum Development, Rich, and also from Pennsylvania Museums. Thanks very much for being here. For the rest of the day, network partners are going to be delivering these materials to legislators throughout the Capitol. I want to emphasize that there's a lot of activity going on around the state as well. This was Advocacy Day not only in Harrisburg but throughout the state. And part of the message to the arts education community was to contact your legislator. That's the most powerful, effective thing over the long term that can be done. We do important stuff here in the Capitol, but arts advocates, arts education advocates can most effectively contact their legislators as constituents. In the end, that's what will influence the decision making. Again, we want to thank everybody who has contributed to today's event. Again, thanks very much to Aaron for pulling all of us together. And everybody have a good day. Thanks for being with us.